Just a quick catch up on your squad and fitness. How is everyone? Any injuries or anything we need to know about?
Yeah, it's been a slightly disrupted week. We had 2 positive COVID tests after our away trip to Crewe, which ultimately we then have to go under, rightly so, follow some strict protocols around obviously quarantine and isolation. So we've had to do that. Means we had quite a few drop out from training this week, and I think it's really important just to stress. Obviously, COVID's still evident; it's still about. And whilst it is, I think number one for me will always be people, their well-being and their health. So medical guys have done a terrific job. We're straight on the front foot. We've had no further positive cases since them too. So again, huge credit to our medical staff and the players. We've gone back into measures that were done quite a while ago just to make sure that it's not spread. So yeah, we've had a slightly disrupted week from that perspective, but I think moving on from that, the group that have trained and the group that we do have going into the game tomorrow have been terrific. I've really enjoyed. I think when you go through little periods like this where you get some tests and some challenges, I think what it tends to do and what this group's shown before earlier in the season, it brings you together. So a disrupted week, but one that I still think we're ready to going into the game tomorrow with the group we've got.
Do I take it then, and obviously not necessarily naming the players, but will there be some players that won't be available for selection tomorrow because of COVID?
Yeah, so we've got quite a few in isolation off the back of it as well. So we've had the 2 positive cases, and then we've got a few that are isolating to make sure especially as it was an away trip, obviously. So being on a coach, being hotel rooms, etc., increases the chances. So rightly so, we've made the medical staff and the club have made the decision to follow the guidelines that we're given to make sure that we stop the risk of it spreading straight away, which benefits us in the long term. So we've got numerous players missing tomorrow, but as I said earlier in the year, what it does then is gives other people opportunity, and more importantly, then people stepping in. I'm having seen them this week. I'm really excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, and I suppose from as we head into these winter months, I know that you're not from the Department of Health, so I won't ask you any specific questions about COVID. But from a footballing perspective, both for you and for the media, for the fans, etc., it's just important, I guess, to be mindful and be conscious that it's still out there. None of us want to go back to where we were a year ago, do we?
No, definitely not. And again, I think it's now a case of just being sensible and elements of using common sense to make sure that we've stuck to it, to be fair, since I came in, and it was already in place when we arrived, that we use multiple changing rooms, masks in meetings, etc. So I have to say we've been pretty on it, and it's just a case of obviously I'm sure most clubs at some point, with, like you said, the winter months, and with the fact that it's still evident that it's crept back in. So what I'm pretty sure and hopeful of now is obviously we had this hit in the short term, but moving forward it will be okay.
Going back to proper football related issues,
Thank you.
And stepping back a week to Crewe, there was never any panic from you. I don't think there was any panic from anyone, but that must have been a very useful result, just to steady any nerves in your camp or for the fans.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure panic's the right word for me. Obviously delighted. I think really important, and the group is still adapting. I think we have to be really clear on that. The group is still adapting to what we're asking them to do and how we're working, and I think that the biggest one we're putting on the players is to actually think and to solve problems, and there's a real fine line in terms of the balance of the style we want to play to win matches, but also being able to adapt to win matches as well. And that takes time for the group to kind of explore, to feel that, and to understand how you do it. So I think it was a really, really useful learning opportunity last week. I said in the post match, we've obviously played a lot better before and not won games like that. So to not style wise maybe been in complete control like I'd normally want us to be. What we did show is a real clinical edge to us. I thought we were quite ruthless in front of goal. We showed coming through moments again, which again I think is really important for us as a young group, that managing momentum, getting back on top, and being able to respond and do what we did. I think the win was huge for us, I think, from that perspective. So like I've always reiterated, is take the learning from it. What can we use to make us better? Stay level, stay grounded, and then channel all our energy into getting ready for tomorrow.
It's really interesting because that what was levelled at the side last season, and I know that's not your business in many respects, but what was levelled at them was they weren't adaptable. There wasn't, and I hate to use the expression plan B, but it's a thing used in football, you know, how you can change within the game to adapt to the way that the other team's playing. That wasn't there, and that's clearly something that when you've come in and made one or two tweaks to begin with, but actually that's probably the biggest part of what you've got to do and had to do at the side, I guess.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, when you go into a match, you've got to be really difficult to beat and really difficult to play against. And I thought, arguably we could have stopped certain aspects, stopped the ball getting into our box last week. But I have to say, when it got in there, we defended it really well. I was really pleased with how we defended crosses and defended set pieces. And I think that's always the starting point. You have to be really difficult to beat. I think the next bit on top of that is we want to be difficult to beat because of how we use the ball, because of how well we pass it, how we dominate teams. I think if teams want to come and press us, no worries. We're happy to try and play through, and I think that's the biggest bit for us in terms of finding that balance of when teams do come and press, is we want to get in behind them, but how do we do it? Do we do it off one pass or 4 passes? And I think that was the bit for me. What we've spoken a lot around, and I have to say the players have been terrific this week in terms of their level of involvement, of feedback during games, is to go right when teams do come and press, how do we deal with that? How do we make sure we still control the game, still adapt to win the game, but still impose our style on it, because I believe in the way we play to win matches. So I think that was probably the biggest lesson. Like I say, we've been really extreme in the style before and lost games. Maybe the style wasn't quite right, and we've won at the weekend. So I think it's that happy medium. I'm pretty sure I take the 3 points any day.
Absolutely. FA Cup then, and just share your own personal feelings and thoughts about being involved in this great competition.
Yeah, I think again didn't have a high level playing career. So I remember playing in qualifying rounds, non-league, which it was always a big thing for non-league clubs. That opportunity which you see small clubs going on little runs, making the first, second, third round. And I think it's a fantastic, obviously, competition from that perspective with such huge history. I have to say, one of the first games I remember, I think, is '94 Man United Chelsea. It was a special day for numerous reasons. But that was probably the first one I remember. Again,
for sure. And as far as the opposition in Stevenage, there's been some really, really interesting games between the two sides through the years. It's not a million miles for the fans to travel. How much do you know about Stevenage?
Yeah, we watched them numerous times. I said it in the Papa John's Trophy. We do all our research properly. And again, I honestly don't think a competition like this is a one-off game. So to a certain extent, form becomes a little bit irrelevant. It's an opportunity for them to come here and to play in a game, almost a free hit. And I think that's the one that we have to make sure that we're prepared. We do everything like we do. We've looked into them in terms of style, how they'll set up, what we think they'll do, etc. But it then just shifts back onto us again. We provide the players with all the information. We do all the prep work exactly the same week in, week out. It's then a case of, right, how do they set up, what do they do, and us being then good enough to actually adapt to go and impose ourselves on the game. So we've done our work. I said it to the players today. I think the biggest thing now is focusing on us, controlling what we can in terms of attitude, application, how hard we work, and then trying to impose our quality on the game.
Their manager, Alex Ravel, of course, had a short spell at MK Dons, and it's fair to say that he's under a fair amount of pressure at the moment with the side's league form. They can't score goals, and they're losing most recently heavily in the league to Newport. Does that make them a dangerous animal in many respects? Difficult to judge how they're going to play.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's an opportunity actually to step away from the league and actually then go, right, let's go and give it everything in a prestigious competition. So again, I think irrespective of what's happening there, they're going to be a threat. They're going to work hard. They're going to come here and try and pose problems for us. So I think the biggest thing for us to do is, like I say, make sure that we're ready to match their work rate, match their their endeavour, their competitiveness. Make sure that we step up and do that first. So I think for me personally, I think league form becomes a little bit irrelevant. When you're going into FA Cup games.
Have you crossed paths with Alex Ravel before in your career?
I haven't. No, I have to say I just saw his penalty save against Preston, so I have to say it was a terrific save. But no, I haven't crossed paths with him.
That's it for me. That's great. Thanks very much. Cheers, Liam. Nice
No
one.
worries.
With obviously these positive tests, would there have been an opportunity for you guys to have got the game potentially cancelled or postponed?
No, I don't think so. What we've with the squad that we have available, like I said, what I don't want to do is end up, we've had the cases, we've got the isolations. What I don't want it to do is become about that and not the group that are playing tomorrow. And I think, when I look at this, the starting lineup we've got, going out tomorrow, I genuinely am really excited by it. I think it actually shows the depth we have in the group as well. I look at it in terms of the quality of players stepping in and what's going out tomorrow, and I think we're really strong. I'm really pleased with the group, and I think it's been an interesting week from that perspective. I think what it does, and it kind of reiterates the words I've used before, that players have to be ready when they get their opportunity. And again, that's probably the bit that excites me more than anything. That some people are getting an opportunity tomorrow. Let's see how they do. And I first and foremost, I want them to do well. I want people to step in and and go and achieve what they want to, and hit a level that they're happy with. So for me, like I said, I don't. The COVID things happen. Certain players aren't available. My energy is really going into the group that are playing tomorrow.
Would it have been a game that you would have ordinarily rotated for, and we'd have seen, the Papa John's Trophy squad, for example, that would have gone into this one, or was it very much a focus of your league starters?
It's a good question, actually. I hadn't, when I found out the news around the cases, I hadn't actually even thought around the team for this Saturday, to be totally honest. So I think for me, it's a competition. We want to do as well as we can. I think obviously my first game in it as a head coach, so it's one that I'm really looking forward to and excited for, and I want the group to really progress in. So I have to say, without copping out to the answer, I hadn't actually given it too much thought because Crewe was still in my head.
No, that's fair enough. A player who missed the Crewe game, obviously Troy Parrott, he's now been called up to the Republic of Ireland squad again. Obviously, another terrific moment for him, but coming in and out of the squad as he has been with that international duty, is it a frustration on your part at all, or is it just a case that that's the benefit of having players who are of international quality?
Yeah, no, I think like I said before, I think it's something that players should be proud of to represent their country. So I think he's come back in. He's trained really well this week. Troy, he's available for selection tomorrow. So be good to have him involved again. And then he goes away, and I think what it does is it exposes him again to players that are playing Premier League, Championship at higher levels. So I think it's two ways of looking at it. Obviously, it hurts us from a perspective. He's obviously away for a period, but it also then means when he does come back, we've got a player that should be coming back hungry and improving because of the level he's been exposed to whilst away in international.